Swing and a miss, a no-hitter. Jake Arrieta has just pitched a no-hitter at Dodger Stadium.
Here comes the 2-2. In the air, this should do it. It's a no-hitter. Jake Arrieta has done it again. 2 no-hitters in consecutive seasons, 20-1 since June 21st of last year, and only Mother Nature has stopped Jake Arrieta. Cubs baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. It is cold and overcast once again here on the north side, but we are set for baseball after a rainout last night. Brewers and the Cubs in a rain-shortened 2-game series, and as we get going today, the catching situation has changed a little bit for the Cubs, and our Coors Light game report presented by Kelly Kroll on the field. Kelly?
Thanks a lot, Lynn. Yeah, well, Miguel Montero moved to the DL. It'll be David Ross behind the plate for Jake Arrieta today and John Lester tomorrow. Of course, he was behind the plate for that no-hitter just a week ago. And he took one for the team, guys, just like the bullpen, all staying in their own seats, exactly where they were inning by inning as Jake continued on. It was David Ross who told me in about the 3rd inning needed to use the restroom very badly, but by the 5th inning, seeing what Jake was doing, he was not going to let that happen. He held it the whole game. He said, I had to do my part if everybody else was, and he believes that maybe had something to do with Jake Arrieta's no-hitter. But no, truthfully, Lynn, as I send it back up to you, he's a guy that Joe Maddon says is irreplaceable on this team. I mean, people might start clamoring about his offense if he's not hitting, but his true value is so much more than that to this team, always in guys' ears, teaching especially the young guys how to not only be great ball players, but great human beings. David Ross behind the plate today.
Thank you, Kelly. Tim Fedorovich is here from AAA Iowa. And Jake Arrieta ready to work. We'll get the Brewers lineup here in a second as Jonathan VR, switch hitting shortstop, will start it. And here we go. Arrieta's first pitch is in the dirt on a fastball at 95. That's outside for ball 2. Hopefully he had a bad bullpen, right?
Yeah, after the no-hitter he told us it was really sloppy in the bullpen. And that's the amazing thing about that no-no last time out. He was not particularly sharp, especially early in that ball game. His stuff was good, but it was not the typical location for Arrieta. He is our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher, and that has a little different ring to it, doesn't it, when Arrieta's the guy on the mound. So far he's been close to perfect. And certainly in the win department he has been. 4 starts, 4 wins, and 0.87 earned run average.
Swing and a miss. And it's 2-2. Cubs are 15-5, 3 games ahead of the surging Pirates, who've won 4 in a row. Milwaukee 8-12. Tied with Cincinnati for 4th. And there we go. First batter of the game shatters his bat. And VR making the big turn. He's going to hold with a single. Ball gets by Zobrist, but Rizzo backing it up. So there you go.
Man.
And that tells you how hard it is to throw a no-hitter.
Yeah, it sure does. He made a good pitch, broke the bat. And that thing is about 3 inches off the outside corner and down. Shatters his lumbar. Johnny Vandermeer, his record is safe.
Yep. 45-degree afternoon. And here's Alex Presley getting the start in right. Both teams have the same starting pitcher and same lineup they had scheduled for the game that was rained out last night. No makeup has yet been announced as the Brewers will come back to Wrigley Field twice in mid-August and mid-September. And if you have your ticket stub from last night, hang on to it. Listella way in at third. There goes the runner, and Presley fouls away. It looks early on like the Brewers have decided if we get base runners, we're going to be aggressive. And here's Craig Counsell's Brewers Southwest starting lineup. VR, Presley, Ryan Braun did not start the other night, but he did knock in 2 off the bench. Lucroy, Carter, Neuenhuis in the middle. Aaron Hill, the third baseman. Yadiel Rivera at second. Scooter Gennett put on the disabled list today. And the pitcher Youngman batting ninth.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for the Brewers to be aggressive, especially early. He's at the top of the order that can run a little bit. Presley handles the bat pretty well. To think you're going to just sit back and string a bunch of hits together against Arrieta, that's not likely. To think you're going to knock a couple balls out of the ballpark off of him on a day like today, that's not likely.
Alfonso Marquez is back at the plate. Chris Guccione, David Rackley, and the crew chief Larry Vanover on the bases. The lights are on this overcast day. And in the air to left, that's Bryant for the first out.
Well, let's position the Cubs for you here defensively. You saw Chris Bryant out there in left make the play on the pop-up. He's got Fowler next to him in center. Jason Hayward, the Gold Glover, in right. Listella gets a start at third today. Russell and Zobrist up the middle. Main ingredient at first base, David Ross. You know, he led all catchers last year, all major league catchers in pickoffs. He picked off 5 last year. He's picked off 1 already this year. Very good at shutting down the running game. It's a bit of a challenge with Jake on the mound because Jake is not particularly quick to home plate.
Boo Bird's out for Ryan Braun. Yeah, David Ross had a walk-off pickoff in Washington last year.
That's right, he did.
I think it took me a year to come up with that phrase. It would have been better if I'd thought of it that night.
Maybe it'll happen again.
Swing and a miss. 8th inning pinch hit, 2-run double in game 1 for Braun. And he has hit 23 career homers against the Cubs since his debut in '07. It's the 3rd most among all major league hitters. Only Albert Pujols and Joey Votto have hit more against the Cubs. Big lead by VR. Not running.
It's twitchy down there like he wanted to go. Braun off to a very good start this year, hitting for a high average. He's hitting for power. He's been driving the ball the other way. Had back issues, had surgery, had a thumb problem. All systems go now, healthy and swinging it well. Four out of 10 in his career against Jake Arrieta. One of those 4 hits, a long ball.
Another check on VR. One other game going on right now. Detroit leading Oakland 4-2 in the 4th. The Pirates and Rockies have been postponed in Denver. When they made the announcement, 37 degrees at Coors Field. There he goes again, and Ross's throw is late.
Good aggressive lead. You see the break by VR, so he gets into scoring position for Braun.
Challenge and a close play. 2-2. And now it's full. Wind out of the northeast at 12 miles an hour today. Three-two to Braun, and it's ball 4.
Well, you know, LaCroix coming up here obviously has a very good resume. He's a good hitter. 2-3 years ago, he led the league in batting average with runners in scoring position. But Braun is still that guy in the batting order for the Brewers, especially the way he has started this year, that you're going to identify as, you know, if you get a chance to pitch around or certainly not give into, he would be the guy. And who's willing to accept his walk, and Jake will start fresh with LaCroix.
Don't want to bludgeon you with numbers, but in the case of Arrieta, there are so many good ones. And here's the pitch. Ball 1 on LaCroix. Cubs have won his last 17 starts. That ties the franchise record. Only pitcher in Cubs history to win 20 games over a 24-start stretch. He won the National League Player of the Week last year. And the 1-0 with the runners on the move. And they're safe. So 3 steals in the inning. 2 by VR. And Arrieta's Wrigley Field scoreless streak in jeopardy, 2nd and 3rd with 1 out.
Yeah, they never really made him stop out at second base. Would have been a good time to step off, check his momentum a little bit.
Infield back, 1-1. 2 balls and a strike.
Jake will go 91 to 96 with the fastball. Likes to sink it and also elevate the 4-seamer. You got that slider or cutter. He throws about 88, 89 miles an hour. Curveball and the changeup. He'll run away from the lefties.
3 of his first 4 starts have come on the road. 3-1. The other start at Wrigley was on the 16th of this month. 8 shutout innings against the Rockies. And again, with first base open now, and you've got a strikeout candidate on deck, Arrieta may not give in to LaCroix. And he doesn't.
And it can be a bit of a perilous strategy to be this defensive early. You know, Carter certainly has big time pop, and if he was able to drive one out of here, all of a sudden you're down 4 runs. But I think, you know, Arrieta's supremely confident in his ability to make pitches and just willing not to give in. He's not conceding anything. It's interesting, you know, Joe Madden had his infield back, so Joe's like, you know, we get a ground ball to the middle of the infield, we'll trade an out for a run. Arrieta's mindset is, no, I'm not conceding anything.
Right. Carter off to a very good start. Bases loaded, 1 out. And ball 1.
So the misses have been down with that fastball, which is, you know, you better to miss down than out over the middle of the plate. He needs to make a little bit of an adjustment here, recalibrate, and start finding the zone.
Well, you had an extra day as it was after the no-hitter with the Cubs being off on Monday, and you had the rain out last night, so it's been 6 full days off between starts. And the 1-0 pitch, that is in for strike 1. Has done a lot of damage in these spots. Big moment in this game right off the bat. Two and one.
And Carter will take his walks. He strikes out a lot, but he also better than average in terms of working a walk.
2-1 is fouled back. You're the first analyst I've ever heard say, and I agree with you, that a bases loaded walk is not necessarily the worst case scenario.
No, and it's one that fans usually react angrily. There's a lot of boos. Arrieta's not going to be booed, but a lot of times you see it happen to a pitcher. But yeah, he's got a dangerous hitter in there.
Love to make his pitch right here. 2-2, and here it comes, and he got it. That is the second out, and it'll bring up Kurt Neuenhuis.
This is just a challenge fastball. After a couple of cutters, inner half and up a little bit.
Two hits, including a double in the opening game of this set. 3 on, 2 down. Pitch number 25 for Jake here in the first. Ball 1.
That's easy gas, boy. That's just relaxed 95 right there. Jake going with the mind over matter approach, and sleeveless on this cold day.
The beard's keeping him warm.
As if he's saying to the hitters, you guys cold? I'm not cold. I'm good to go.
Crowd getting into it. The 1-2 pitch. Knocked down by Ross. He was ready to do that on a curveball. 2-2.
As soon as VR got to second base, Jake has taken on a pitch away from contact approach. He's not thinking about letting him put it in play. He's thinking about punching him out.
A lot will happen on this one. Runners will move with 2 outs.
Yeah, he tried to get him to chase a couple of breaking balls. Neuenhuis did a nice job laying off. Now I think he's just got to go back to basics. A 2-seamer. Down and away. We're going to go cutter in it.
The 3-2 fouled back.
Rossi was starting to sneak inside a little bit.
Another 3-2, swing and a miss, and Arrieta gets out of it. It's almost like he's challenging himself. Yeah, load the bases, couple of walks. Ho hum. Cubs coming up when we come back. presented by Binny's Beverage Depot. If Dexter Fowler gets a hit, Binny's Beverage Depot will donate $100 to the Greater Chicagoland Food Depository. Now the rest of the Cubs Southwest starting lineup off to a great start, and 9-2 against their own division. Fowler, Hayward, and Bryant christening left today. Rizzo, Zobrist, La Stella, Tommy playing third. Russell had the big game-winning hit on Tuesday. Ross the catcher, Arrieta the pitcher.
Brewers defensively, Braun, Neuenhuis, Presley, left, center, right. Hill, VR, Rivera, Carter around the infield. Jonathan Lucroy rock solid behind the plate. And the Alexis starting pitcher for the Brewers this afternoon, the big right-hander, Taylor Youngman. Rugged start for him so far, 0-3 with an .847 through 4 starts. 26 years old. Big guy, 6'6", 220.
12th overall pick in 2011. Couple of Texas guys battling here. Jake Arrieta lives in Austin. Youngman born in Temple, Texas. Here's the 1-0 to Fowler. And a little soft liner for a base hit. Benny's likes it. The Greater Chicagoland Food Depository benefits as well.
Youngman has been hit hard. He's also struggled with command. He's walked 10 in 17 innings. Crossfire delivery, works from the third base side of the rubber and really throws across his body.
Hayward went 0 for 5 in game 1 after piling up 10 hits over his previous 5 games, and he fouls back.
It's all about timing now for Jason. He's been a little late at times, and so he's not driving the ball. Hasn't gone deep yet. Only 4 extra base hits, but you know it's in there. It looks like he's holding his hands just a little bit further away from his body. You know, John Maley, the hitting coach, has been working with him to try to get a little separation, get those hands back into a loaded position a little bit earlier.
Pop up near the plate. Lucroy's got it, foul ground for out number 1. Cubs would like a big win here, and then they'll get dressed up for the annual Bricks and Ivy ball tonight down at Navy Pier.
You shine your shoes?
No. My shoes are in good shape, but I did not specifically shine them today. You?
No, I haven't.
Chris Bryant, the batter. Whoa, they just got drilled.
So Youngman goes 87 to 93. Average fastball this year right around 90 miles an hour. And that's down from what he did last year. Also throws a curveball and a change. Did a nice job for the Brewers last year. His rookie season made 21 starts, was 9-8 with a 3.77 ERA. Really good early on after he got called up, but struggled in September. Did not throw the ball well this spring, and is off to a really poor start here. So some concern for sure in the Brewer camp about their young right-hander.
Well decorated. Dick Hauser Trophy winner in college, 2011. University of Texas. foul. In high school, went to Rogers High School and then Georgetown High School in Texas. 12-2 with an 0.90 as a freshman, 10-1 with an 0.84 as a sophomore, 13-0 with an 0.40 as a junior, and then his senior year 14-0 with an 0.77. He was Jake Arrieta in high school.
Yeah, but Jake Arrieta's Jake Arrieta in the big leagues.
Right.
And that's the amazing thing when you look at the numbers that Arrieta's putting up. That's what you go, yeah, that's the big kid in Little League. It strikes everybody out, hits a home run.
Two on, one out. Fake towards second. Cubs are scoring over 6 runs per game. Second best in the major leagues behind only the Cardinals. They seem to be putting up double digits every night. Cardinals beat the Diamondbacks 11-4 last night. Adam Wainwright with his first win. He hit a 3-run triple as well. Three and one. So Arrieta needed 31 pitches to get to the top of the first, and Youngman with a couple of base runners working a deep count against Rizzo.
Rizzo has walked more than he has struck out. Same for Zobrist, who waits on deck.
They're loaded up for Zobrist. And he's got a 6-game walk streak as he heads to the plate.
Yeah, there are only 11 players in the National League who have walked more than they've struck out, and then 2 of them are back-to-back here in the Cubs batting order today. We've seen improved plate discipline from the likes of Addison Russell, Chris Bryant, staying in the zone, and not swinging and missing as much as he did last year. So those young guys are trending upward. You know what Zobrist is all about. This lineup really hasn't hit their stride yet, which is really amazing considering all the runs they've scored.
Three on, one out. 6 career grand slams for Zobrist. Way wide. Surprised that pitch stayed on the screen on our pitch tracks.
Tremendous range factor by LaCroix.
It's low. Fowler, the lead man, he singled. Bryant was hit by a pitch. Rizzo walked. Popped up. Hill near the dugout, and it's off his glove. And new life for Zobrist. So Hill had a shot at it.
If he had Chris Bryant's reach, probably catches this ball.
So he's charged with an error. By the way, if he had caught that ball and flipped into the dugout, Fowler would have been allowed to score.
It was just called a no play. So
oh, okay. They changed it. Okay. Yeah, that was not an easy play, but I'm sure one Hill would tell you he should have made. Ground ball, base hit. Here comes Fowler. Bryant to the plate. 2-0 Cubs in the first.
Brewers threatened, failed to score against Arrieta. The Cubs come out and put a 2-spot on Youngman, and that's the last thing Craig Counsell wanted to see, his young right-hander who is really scuffling to get off to a bad start here this afternoon. Carried an 8.47 ERA into this game, but of course Ben Zobrist was going to drive in runs because this is his day. 2011, on this date, he drove in 10 runs in a doubleheader, 8 in one ball game. You do not want to pitch to this guy.
Not on April 28th.
No.
Nope.
Clearly they did not read the scouting report.
First and third, still only one out, and it's Tommy La Stella. Low for ball one. And Youngman has had all kinds of problems here early on in the season. And giving up first inning runs can't help his confidence too much today. He has yet to deal a quality start. He's now allowed as many earned runs as innings pitched.
That delivery, we talked about the crossfire nature of it. Of course, Jake Arrieta works across his body as well, not to the extent that Youngman does, so they can, can provide some deception. Right now, I think he's having a hard time finding a consistent release point.
Get on their hands. La Stella pops it up. Hill will get another chance, and this time he makes the grab. So 2 outs, and it will bring up Addison Russell. For a strike. So Russell with the game-winning hit in the opening contest of the first 2 homestands. A dramatic homer against the Reds on April 11th, and the go-ahead 2-run triple to start this homestand Tuesday. Ground ball to short, charged by VR, and the inning is over. Ben Zobrist with a 2-run single. Cubs lead 2-0 after 1.
Chicago is presented by State Farm. And look at that, Jake is pitching. How fitting. They're having pretzels. And why not? Hunker down, bundle up, have some food, watch some hardball. Good way to spend an afternoon. Marietta wobbled in the first, but stiffened, punched out the final two to get out of a jam.
Here's Aaron Hill. The big error the other night that led to a couple of unearned runs, and then the catch he could not make near the dugout. And the Zobrist 2-run single. He did almost hit a big homer in the ninth, though. Crushed one to left for the final out of the game against Hector Rondon. 2 strikes on him. 7 out of 17. With a homer against Arrieta. That goes back to their American League East days. As he grounds out to Zobrist. So you have the former Blue Jay against the former Oriole, grounding out to the former Ray. Yadiel Rivera playing second. Scooter Gennett with the oblique got scratched on Tuesday, was out of their lineup last night. Of course, we had the rain out, and then today he was placed on the disabled list.
Oblique injury, though, those can linger too. And Scooter Gennett off to a good start, hitting for power. Will be down for a while.
Rivera really opened some eyes in spring training as he grounds out. So 2 quick outs for Arrieta. Hey, Cub fans, let's go. Tickets are still available for the 3-game weekend series against the Braves. That'll start tomorrow afternoon. Get your tickets at Cubs.com. A reminder, the Cubs added metal detectors at all the Wrigley Field gates. Please make sure to give yourself extra time to enter the ballpark. For more info, Cubs.com/security. If you're not sick of my voice, you can hear a little tutorial on Cubs.com about the new security procedures. Oh, 2.
You narrated that?
I did.
Did you kind of look John Facenda? Did you get real dramatic like NFL films?
When you enter the frozen tundra.
One shot at the punch out there. Now he'll get after Youngman, trying to have a very quick, efficient inning after laboring in the first.
Called strike 3. So efficient in the second after laboring in the first. Arrieta leading 2-0 early.
Chicago's most popular game show where fans test their sports trivia knowledge and try to win cold hard cash. Beer Money, Sunday night at 7 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Some Rizzos, yeah.
Breakfast of Champions.
Very popular item in the Chicago area. Here's Taylor Youngman for his second inning. Ross, Arrieta, Fowler grabbed the lead on a Ben Zobrist 2-run single and a strike on David Ross. Miguel Montero placed on the 15-day disabled list today. Retroactive to Monday with lower back tightness. They have selected catcher Tim Fedorovich from AAA Iowa. And he is available today. Off to a good start offensively with Iowa, but really the main reason he's here is his ability to handle a pitching staff. One and two. So we'll see how Joe decides to split the playing time. Way inside on Ross.
A lot of arm side misses, bad misses for Youngman here in the early going. Again, that across the body delivery, he's just having a hard time kind of getting out in front and finding the strike zone. We know Ross will be in there tomorrow. It's John Lester Day tomorrow. Really good action on the curveball, and that's the one thing that cross body delivery will do for you. You can really create some leverage to get good action on the breaking ball.
Deep drive left field, way back, out of here. Might be on Waveland.
And no doubter from David Ross. His second. Here's your forward home run replay. Pretty swing by the veteran.
Career home run number 98, our forward home run replay. That ball was crushed. .420 feet. Rattled Youngman. He's 3-0 on the pitcher. Jake off to a terrific start at the plate. Ooh, swinging. How many pitchers get a 3-0 green light? Have you ever seen that?
I don't know that I have.
Joe liked it.
I'm not sure he had a green light. I think he just took a green light. I don't think they gave him a take. I think the assumption was that he would take on his own there. But do not assume.
Presley makes the catch. So one out, and it's Dexter Fowler. Started the first inning with a single. outside, ball one. Tried the curve again and got the corner that time. 1-1. How many witty coaches have talked to this pitcher and said, "Now, young man, ... I
thought you were going to make a going with a Henny young man.
Well, I think we did that the last time we saw him.
Well, his head's got to be swirling right now after this slow start. I don't know what the Brewers have in reserve down on the farm, but when you second year in the league, you get off to this kind of start, your mind starts to race. How long are they going to stick with me?
Racing over is Neuenhuis. Wednesday, May 25th. Kerry Wood will bring the heat. Sign up and get a chance to swing for the fences, competing for the Battle of the Bats, home run champion at Wrigley Field. It's your chance to step to the plate for Chicago's kids and support the Wood Family Foundation and Cubs Charities. For details, visit CubsCharities.com. To Hayward is a called strike.
Brewers starters have compiled a 5.88 earned run average. It's the 13th in the National League. Better only than the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. You almost have to throw the Rockies out of that equation.
Three and two. David Ross leading off the inning. A booming home run. It's Neuenhuis again in center, and the inning is over. David Ross helping out his pitcher, and it's 3-0 Cubs after 2 from Wrigley Field.
Draft headquarters. At 5, catch Sports Talk Live. Former Colts coach Tony Dungy joins the show. They'll preview the draft, and at 10:30 get a complete recap and analysis of the first round on Sportsnet Central. Bears draft coverage presented by Miller Lite starts tonight at 5 on CSN Chicago.
Is it a bear that ate a person? Is that a person dressed as a bear?
The star of Revenant. Little pieces of Leonardo DiCaprio hanging from his teeth.
What an O on VR. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Even better. Wouldn't want to be the guy sitting behind him, but Marietta does not get the low strike that time.
So what do we see here? 48 2/3, 50 2/3 consecutive scoreless now at Wrigley for Jake. 20 consecutive scoreless innings for him against this Brewers club, going back to his last 2 starts last year.
Third walk given up. We are on both times. He stole 2 bases the first time he was on, so I expect him to think about it again. Carlos Subero assisting at first base.
At down 3, the thinking may change a little bit, but I would still think that Craig Counsell would be pushing certain guys to run, and VR would be one of them.
Called strike on Presley. Craig Counsell grew up in Milwaukee. Father worked for the club when he was young. Went on to Notre Dame and had a long, very good major league career. And was right in the middle of 2 Game 7 winning rallies in the World Series with the Marlins and the Diamondbacks.
One of those guys that when he was an active player, if you surveyed other players around the league as to who would be a good manager, his name would be near the top of the list. Just quick. Good feet by Arrieta, close at first. Not afraid to take an aggressive lead. We saw that first time he was on. Shortened up a little bit now.
Fowler drifting toward left center.
Left fielder Ryan Braun.
Here's Ryan Braun. Hey, look at Craig Counsell's playing career. He was not an everyday player for very long, but he played 16 years in the big leagues. Had a couple of good stolen base seasons. He walked a lot, did not hit for power, but he played just about every position on the infield.
Yeah, so he learned a lot about the game. He's a smart guy to begin with. This new breed of managers are stepping right into a major league dugout.
Scored well some of the defensive analytics. Had a good value that way, and played in 41 postseason games. down the middle on Ryan Braun.
Sometimes it's just a matter of paying attention to a guy over there at first base. You don't have to have a quick pick-off move. If you just make a couple throws over there, get in his head a little bit, you're going to shorten him up. Just take away a little bit of that aggressiveness. Ooh, ball on the corner.
Alfonso Marquez.
You always want that one, and you especially want it against a hitter like Braun, who's 358 lifetime in this ballpark, highest among active players.
Double play ball. 4-6-3 to end the inning. Middle of the third, Cubs 3, Brewers nothing. Hello there. Star of the game. It's presented by Coors Light, and today we honor the Scoreboard Bar and Grill in Lake Zurich. Today you can just set the Coors Light outside. You don't even need a refrigerator or ice. It'll stay chilled.
Porch. Yep. Put it on a grandma's porch and you're good to go.
Bryant, Rizzo, and Zobrist. 1-0 pitch to Chris, swing and a miss on the curve.
Now with his delivery, you would think, well, this guy's got to be tough on right-handed hitters. Coming into this game, right-handed hitters were batting .350 against him.
Fouled out of play. 1-2. Who is that? We think it's Clark, but it's Jake Barrietta today, I guess. I like it. He's got that onesie look. Yeah. That Jake had after his first no-hitter. Ground ball foul.
Clark better stay away from the Revenant bear in the stands there. I know it could get a little ugly. You know?
They don't play nice.
Could be a little territorial issue.
Braves come here tomorrow. They're 4-17 going into their game tonight at Fenway Park. So they lost 9 in a row to start the year, won 4 straight, now have lost 8 in a row. Freddie Freeman did hit a home run last night.
I saw that, yeah. So it's their 4th for their team.
Yeah, I think so. toward the alley, and it'll get down. Cut off by Neuenhuis, and Bryant held to a single.
He's been shooting the ball that way with the regularity here lately, and that's a good sign when a hitter's willing to go the other way.
Well, we were rained out last night. The game was called at about 6 o'clock. Earlier in the day, Anthony Rizzo made a visit to Lurie Children's Hospital, one of his frequent stops. And he stopped by the pediatric oncology floor, visited with patients and their families, and brought Cubs gifts as well. Always brings smiles to their faces. Most people who followed this team know that Anthony is a cancer survivor himself, and it means a lot to the children and their families, and he shows up to lend his support. It's a strike.
It has to be heartening for so many of those kids to see a guy who's been through it and doing so well now. And some players treat those kinds of responsibilities as a burden. For Anthony, it's an opportunity.
Yep. You've got VR, the shortstop. They're playing that hybrid short/third position, and Hill has joined Rivera over on the right side. And the pitch. We've seen that curveball a lot today from Youngman.
Is it me, or does Youngman keep blowing on his glove hand?
It's like he's got both. Yeah, it's odd.
On a cold day, you know, pitcher can blow on his hand out there on the mound. The umpires will tell each manager in the pitch, yeah, you're good. You can go ahead and blow on your hand like that. A lot of times he's been blowing into his glove.
Maybe to keep the leather soft. I don't know.
Probably his hand's just cold and he's not really thinking about it too much.
That's going to stay fair, and it's going to get into the corner. Bryant will score. Rizzo's got a double. 4-0. He has knocked in 23 runs already. This is the Cubs' 21st game.
Pitch flattened out, belly button high. Long way for Presley to go to retrieve that one, and Bryant, as we've said many times, can really run. Great tight turn to third base.
Yeah, that might be the one area of this team we haven't talked about enough. The Cubs have a lot of very good base runners. They don't have typical burners, but guys who are really smart. Fowler and Hayward, and Anthony Rizzo has improved a lot the last couple of years. Ben Zobrist, Chris Bryant. That's the thing about this offense. It's not a one-trick pony. It's not just, you know, yeah, they'll walk and hit home runs, go station to station. It's not that at all. It's become way more dynamic.
Yeah, Joe encourages them to be aggressive, so you walk that line between aggressiveness and recklessness, and every now and then a guy will cross over and make a mistake.
That ball's dropped by Carter. Youngman over to first, and they get Zobrist. They'll go 3-1. With Rizzo holding. It's Some very early action. Veteran left-hander Chris Capuano is up.
Hey, he's wearing his Arrieta beard thing. Kind of cool of him to do that. Or might he be a guy that Craig Counsell turns to step into the rotation? These young guys continue to struggle.
Jake has commented that he thinks the beard plays into the whole intimidation thing, so maybe other pitchers are trying the same. Strike on La Stella. If it were only that easy.
Yeah,
right?
The beard with 89 miles an hour nowhere near as intimidating as 95 with all. There's a herd mentality in baseball. In the era of the facial hair.
I'm going to wear a tank top undershirt, grow a beard, and eat a lot of kale. I'll be the next National League Cy Young Award winner. Stella in the air out into deep left. Braun is back on it. It's over his head. Rizzo's going to score. Stella to second. It's 5-0.
Well, he got 16 runs for Jake last time he pitched. Off and running here again today. And La Stella had that big day in Cincinnati on Sunday. He had a couple of doubles and a home run. So good pop the other way this time.
Derek Johnson, the Brewers pitching coach, former member of the Cubs baseball department, is the minor league pitching coordinator, and will be told to break it up. Hey kids, Sundays are back at Wrigley Field. Make sure you get tickets to this Sunday's series finale with the Braves. After the game, the first 1,000 kids 13 and younger will get the opportunity to run the bases, weather permitting. For more information on how to receive a field access wristband for your child to run the bases, go to Cubs.com/kids. I feel like the curveball is becoming his main pitch.
Yeah, I don't think he trusts his fastball. He's having a hard time commanding it. He has good action on his curveball, so I think it's a matter of trust.
Billy Joel once said. 0-2. Two in the first, one in the second, a couple more here in the third.
Billy Joel said he didn't have command of his fastball.
Something like that. JD's pulling out his Arrieta conversion chart. 5-0 feels like what?
feels like game over.
He got him on the curve. Is his first strikeout. You're going to sit curve. This would be the day to do it.
Yeah, and he's trying to go either outside corner or off the plate with that curveball. Tough to get that pitch called the front door curveball like that. You don't often see called, but according to our grid there, it found the corner. Another one. I mean, that's just inner half curveballs aren't a pitch normally. You normally see guys trying to throw, and I don't know that that's where he's trying to leave that pitch. I guess you're just trying to find the zone with it.
inside on a fastball.
If he continues to struggle, I wonder if they would try repositioning him on the rubber a little bit.
Pop to right. Alex Presley hauls it in. 2 more in on a couple of RBI doubles. Rizzo and then La Stella 2 batters later. 5-0 after 3. For Mother's Day, and JD and I definitely live by this motto on a daily basis. It was coined by Joe when Javier Baez was brought up to the big leagues last year. The idea is just keep it loose, and you can purchase these t-shirts now. Go to corkedbaseball.com, and all the proceeds will benefit Joe's charitable foundation, which is Respect 90, and it provides inner city children and young adults with opportunities for betterment. And if you go to the website, they have other Maddenism shirts as well, such as Do Simple Better, Embrace the Target, The Process is Fearless. These are t-shirts we see the players wear every day in the clubhouse, and you can have one. And again, the proceeds benefit Joe's charity. It says Joe says his favorite color is Tim Salmon.
Tim Salmon. He had Tim Salmon as a minor leaguer. And he was managing, and then of course as a bench coach with the Angels. So Joe's glasses are going to become as iconic as Harry's here, showing up all around town on t-shirts and such. That would have been fun to get those two together. Yeah, the try not to suck thing. Basically, just don't think too much. Just go play. Yep. What's the other? Don't let the pressure exceed the pleasure.
Yep.
And way back when with Tampa, remember he had the club. He had signs in the clubhouse when he was first managing in Tampa. 8+1. What was it? Something about.
Yeah, it was the 9 thing, but it was the playoffs, right? Yeah. We're bad at math. You're close. And yes, hopefully the next time the Cubs head to St. Louis, he will be allowed in the ballpark with that T-shirt. Nine equals
That's what it was.
8.
Right.
That's right.
Thank you.
Our buddy Dave Wills, one of the voices of the Rays, watching today, and a good friend of Joe's.
9 guys playing hard for 9 innings every day equals 8.
There's Carter. So Jake has now walked 4. Still has only allowed the 1 hit. That was the broken bat blooper by VR in the first.
Yeah, a little out of sync in the first inning, but the walks to Brian and LaCroix partially just not wanting to give in. Not the case with the walk to VR to lead off the 3rd inning. Same with LaCroix here.
Ended up in the outfield grass. One and 2. To this point, Cubs have outscored their opponents 43-5 in Arrieta's 5 starts. It kind of fits in with their overall run differential, which is currently at plus 74. Swing and a miss. He got him. So Carter has fanned twice, with a total of 4 men on base in his first 2 at bats.
The DraftKings Fantasy Sports Zone, located on the corner of Addison and Sheffield, is your game day headquarters. Open hours before the game, the DraftKings Fantasy Sports Zone has a large outdoor space, features live music, and the fully stocked signature Captain Morgan bar. Come out and enjoy this unique experience. Plus, fans with tickets have direct access to Wrigley Field. For more information, visit DraftKingsWrigley.com.
It's a good word today. You got the NFL draft in town. I'm feeling a major draft in the booth, and might have to have one tonight at the Bricks and Ivy Ball. Any more definitions of that word we can drop in?
You could be writing a book.
There,
have your first draft.
I like it. One to Neuenhuis. Now 1 and 2 on him.
Camera look from behind home plate there gives you an idea of what the hitters are up against with Arrieta. We've talked a lot about his stuff. but there's deception too. The crossfire delivery and then that high front side, the way he rocks his shoulders back, he hides the ball extremely well. It's kind of like, you know, you're looking for somebody walking through a crowded city street, and you're kind of you're looking for, you're trying to find that window where the ball is going to come out of.
David Ross has talked about catching him. It's not quite as easy as other guys because of that deception. Three-two. Little half swing bouncer to Arrieta, and he gets it. Lucroy at second, 2 outs. And we'll bring up Aaron Hill. A couple of notes on Johnny Vandermeer, since his record is going to be intact at least for a while. He gave up a hit in that third start to Debs Garms. It was the 4th inning. The quote from Vandermeer: "I could have kissed him. The tension was eating me up." So he was definitely feeling the heat after pitching back-to-back no-hitters in 1938, second of which, as we pointed out on the pregame show, was the first night game ever played at Ebbets Field. Later in the Texas League, 1952, he would throw another no-hitter.
He was a player manager then.
One of these shots here's got photographers on the field.
A little wind up, very old school. Yeah, you see the photogs down the first baseline, capturing all the action.
Pitching for the Cincinnati ball club. Was briefly a Chicago Cub as well. 1950.
Nolan Ryan with 7 no-hitters. Koufax Feller. Larry Corcoran was a Cub back in the 1800s.
I'm curious to know, and we'll talk with Steve Trout before the 7th inning stretch, if Steve knows if his father Dizzy knew Johnny Vandermeer. They were contemporaries. Called strike 3, and the inning is over. Leadoff walk, no runs, all Cubs on Jake Arrieta Day. State Farm. Arrieta will lead off the Cubs' fourth.
How about no-hitters there? And Nolan Ryan with 7 career no-hitters. He also pitched 12 career one-hitters. As did Bob Feller.
Pretty amazing.
Well, that's the fun thing about Jake now. The fact that he did it so early this season. People will be locked in on each and every start to see if he can do it again. 2 in a season. That's pretty remarkable.
Real swing in his first at bat. He ultimately flied to right. Say hi to Barb Linso from the Villages, Florida. Sent us a nice note. Congrats to Benjamin Spengel from Northbrook, Illinois, member of Boy Scout Troop 131. Recently achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. That's the highest ranking. Nicely done, Ben.
My dad was an Eagle Scout.
Fly to center. Drifting back is Neuenhuis, and he's got it.
You ever scout? You were scouting?
No, I have not. Very good.
I was a Cub Scout for a little while, maybe a year. One a very good one.
Keys it, you tried it. Strike on Dexter Fowler. We see the Brewers a lot, and it'll be interesting to see if, when we're in Milwaukee in a couple of weeks, if Youngman will still be in their rotation, how long a leash he'll have as he continues to struggle, and we've seen him be just all over the place today.
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned, you know, if he is in the rotation, will they have moved him over on the rubber a little bit, trying to make a little bit of an adjustment to give him a better chance of finding the strike zone. And then the other piece of it too, he's a young guy, former first-round pick, and you know, sometimes you're better off sending a guy to the minor leagues to let him try to get things ironed out there, out of the pressure cooker of the big league environment.
Called strike 3.
Sometimes it's the best thing for a young player, although the young player would never admit it or appreciate that.
Well, I had to be reminded in all the stuff about Jake in the aftermath of the no-hitter. When he was acquired from Baltimore, he went to AAA. He didn't just show up and pitch in the big leagues. And he had had a fair amount of major league time. About working with Mike Mason, obviously Chris Bosio. He was encouraged throughout to be himself. The other very simple key, I mean, talk about do simple better. Bosio focused on, think of the next pitch. It was more of the approach than it was land here, do this there with the mechanics. And as you often point out, sometimes the placebo for a pitcher or a hitter is a little mechanical tweak. In the case of Arrieta, the Cubs got it right. They said nothing about the mechanics.
Just narrow the focus.
Yeah. He was thinking about way too many things. Ball 4.
Yeah, and you can understand why with Baltimore, when you've got a guy with this kind of ability who has some struggles, you can understand where that would happen, where a lot of people would want to get involved. We've got to get this guy straightened out. So let's, land here, do this, whatever it is, change your arm angle, whatever it is, whatever tweaks they tried. You can understand their thinking. And that's why I think the change of scenery was so important for him to come somewhere else where, okay, the slate is clean. Let's forget about all that. Show us what you do, and now just focus one pitch at a time.
It's been a great marriage so far. Well, and that's the other one where you'll have Oriole fans to this day. You bring up Jake's name and they get really angry. I don't know how many people really believe if he had just continued to go with the Orioles. I mean, he might have gotten better, but I don't know if he'd be this good for the reason you mentioned.
Yeah, and I talked to Jake about it, I guess it was 2 years ago. He said, he felt some culpability of you know what, I think I tried to please everybody. Everybody that had a suggestion for me, I was willing to give it a try. And I think what he learned after the trade was, well, wait a minute, I got to forget about all that, trust myself.
Right, according to Chris Guccione.
I don't think so.
So guys can be too coachable.
Yeah, too willing to kind of, okay, I'll try this, and then somebody else gets in your ear and okay, I'll try that. Sometimes you just got to be an athlete. Go out and compete. Forget about all the mechanical stuff.
Ball hit Bryant, so he's reached 3 times, twice on hit by pitches.
Most of the curveballs Youngman has thrown to right-handed hitters have stayed in the inner part of the plate or off the plate inside. That time Bryant gets clipped by one. Back up, loosening in the Brewer bullpen.
Pitch count's going to get him here sooner than later, regardless of the results. As he faces Anthony Rizzo, he has walked, knocked in a run with a double, and scored a run.
That was the case. Anthony was sitting on that curveball. He got it. Youngman made a real good pitch with it. Sometimes the best pitch is the pitch a guy is looking for, just not in his spot. Right? Changeup today hasn't really been close enough to influence the left-handed hitters. been an easy take.
Hayward at second, Bryant at first. Rizzo takes strike 2. I'm not making the comparison between Jake Arrieta and Taylor Youngman, but I will say this: not everybody develops at the same rate. Jake is an example of that. Taylor Youngman could turn into a very good major league pitcher. He's only 26. You see a guy struggle on a day like this, and you say, well, he's not very good. Well, he's not good right now. We could see him later this year, next year, and something could click.
Absolutely.
That will be it for him, as Craig Counsell is going to make a double switch. So the bases are loaded. Cubs leading 5-0. And we'll be right back. The Hyundai call to the pin. Veteran left-hander Chris Capuano is in as part of a double switch. Former starter working out of the bullpen.
The second tour of duty with the Brewers. With them way back in 2004. Started with the Diamondbacks and traded to the Brewers. Had some good years with Milwaukee. An 18-game winner back in 2005 with an ERA just below 4. Finesse guy, below average in terms of velocity. Good changeup, to throw a slider and a curveball. A devilish pickoff move. Probably won't serve him very well here with the bases loaded.
Hernan Perez, who replaced Scooter Gennett on their active roster, is in to play third and hit 9th.
big chance for Zobrist, who drove in 2 first time up, and we noted at the time a few years back on this date he had a huge day, drove in 10 in a doubleheader, 8-1 ball game.
Chris Capuano was once traded with Craig Counsell in that deal you mentioned. That was a big Richie Sexson trade prior to 2004. Chad Moeller, Lyle Overbay, Jorge De La Rosa, Junior Spivey.
Junior Spivey. That's a blast from the past.
Yeah. And then Sexson got hurt, right? Didn't he dislocate his shoulder that following year with the Diamondbacks? 23 games in, yeah, 2004. Old foul.
Bear down.
Okay. Everybody all right?
Capuano's always had a real good changeup. Capuano, because of his experience, a good guy to have on the staff. If Craig Counsell decides to give Youngman or one of his other young starters a break and take him out of the rotation for a while, Capuano could step in.
Shallow center. Nieuwenhuis to end the inning. Cubs don't score, but they lead 5-0. We have completed 4 innings.
Are you in charge of planning your next social gathering? Plan a day or evening here at Wrigley Field. Thank you, Luke. Are you in charge of planning your next social gathering? Plan a day or evening here at Wrigley Field. And enjoy special perks only available inside the ballpark. Cubs offer special ticket packages for groups of 15 or more. Visit Cubs.com/groups. You'll get the skinny right there.
Javier Baez is now playing left for Chris Bryant. So hopefully nothing's going on physically with Bryant. As Arrieta's back to work. He did get hit by 2 pitches. Did not seem to be phased by either.
No, that last one of a breaking ball, it didn't look like it. Got him in a real bad spot, but you never know.
Two on Rivera. Mentioned he had a good spring. Can play short. They knew VR was going to be their opening day shortstop, and they've got Orlando Arcia, their shortstop of the future. So Rivera on the club, and you've seen him at second base in this series as he strikes out. 6 now for Arrieta. It's Hernan Perez.
So he is still allowed just the 1 hit. VR leading off the ball game with a broken bat flare into left field. Not for that, we'd be all over Johnny Vandermeer.
Right, so that record is tieable, but who's going to break it?
Who's going to get 3, right?
0-2.
So the story on Vandermeer, his passion for baseball as a kid was fueled. He won a spelling bee as a youngster in grade school, and the prize was a baseball. Kind of started him on his way.
He was a 4-time All-Star. He lost more games than he won. Quote on the AP Wire in 1939, all the publicity, the attention, the interviews, the photographs were too much for me. Themes seem to resonate around the back-to-back no-hitters. This was in the late 30s. Imagine what it would be like today.
His Twitter account would have blown up.
Yeah.
Hashtag no. Hashtag Dutch Master. He would have been accused of all kinds of nefarious behavior. Craig Counsell had his boys moving early. VR with a stolen base and the double steal with VR and Braun in the first inning, and that was, I'm sure, and he's thinking now, and it's our best chance, and that's often the case against a guy like Arrieta. Maybe you can jump him early before he settles in. I mean, that's not normally the case. We talked about it in the pregame. The typical Arrieta start is like 9 up, 9 down. But the general thinking around the game with elite pitchers, if you don't get him early, you're not likely to get him at all.
Two. Ex-Detroit Tiger. Past Arrieta. Russell gets it. Well, 1 hit in this ballgame or Xfinity high-speed action. Jonathan VR totally shattered his bat as he flared one into left. So the drama ended early in the regard of a potential another no-hitter for Jake, but they still haven't scored a run. So it had gone from Arrieta winning games to Arrieta never allowing runs, to the point where now if he allows a hit, people are disappointed. What's next? Ball one. Oh, man.
How many kids on diamonds this summer will be trying to copy that delivery? We'll be wearing the flat brim hat, rocking the shoulders.
VR's got his second hit as Baez kept that one from getting all the way to the wall. So he's been on all 3 times today. That one was well struck.
Baez had shortened up for him out there and actually broke on that ball as if you're going to try to make a play, and realized that probably wasn't going to pan out for him.
VR's got another steal. He's had a good day. 3 stolen bases.
He might be running just to stay warm. We had this shot of him the other night at shortstop with that mask pulled up where just all you could see was his eyes. He just wants to keep moving.
We're in the 9th in Detroit, couple of 500 teams. The A's and the Tigers. Detroit with a 7-3 lead. That's going to end the shutout streak at Wrigley Field. VR scores. Alex Presley makes it 5-1 now. Add 4 innings to the 48 2/3, almost 53 innings.
Yeah, misfire there, trying to go down and away with a fastball and left it up and in. And a quick bat by Presley. It was an impressive swing. And a round of applause from the Cub faithful here in appreciation for Arrieta's run, and followed up by some boos for Braun.
It was the longest scoreless streak in the history of this ballpark. Just ended. I believe it'll officially go down as 52 2/3 because he did not complete this 5th inning. He will now as Braun grounds out to Zobrist. Middle of the 5th. It's 5-1 Cubs. The Cubs have the lead as we're back here in the bottom of the 5th. Jake Arrieta's record Wrigley Field scoreless streak ending at 52 2/3 innings. So he gave up a run on the top of this frame. Well, we want to welcome all our viewers watching on LaPorte City Telephone in LaPorte City, Iowa. This afternoon, Tommy La Stella takes fastball high. Justin Grimm in the bullpen. Chris Capuano facing the Cubs for the first time in 3 seasons. He is 10-3 lifetime. 14 previous starts. He had a stretch. 2006, 3 starts against the Cubs. 9 innings, no runs. That's a shutout. 8 innings, no runs. 9 innings, no runs. Just completely dominated. That was 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, you know, and the thing about Capuano, he's never been an overpowering guy, so it's not like he's lost a bunch of velocity at this stage in his career. He's essentially the same guy stuff-wise. It's the same exact spot. One time it was good, next time not so good.
Foul tip, 3-2.
Stella's 25th at bat. Well, if it turns into an at bat, it'll be his 25th at bat. He has not struck out yet this year.
Kiss of death.
Come on, Tommy, we're pulling for you. It's not an at bat. Plate appearance.
Leadoff walk. I didn't literally mean kiss of death. Thankfully got out of the way. So here's Russell, 0 for 2. Snap toss, air mails it, and will be charged with an error. As you mentioned earlier, I think you did, he's got a great pickoff move, but not that time.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's the more conventional pickoff move where he lifts his leg like he's going to go home. This time he tries that little step back snap throw, air mails it. RBI chance for Russell.
Jake getting ready. Another at bat as Justin Grimm continues in the bullpen. Here's a pitch. Ooh, gave him that curveball. I guess what's on the line at the moment, I mean, it's a 4-run lead. This game is not over yet, but in terms of Arrieta, he's got the quality start streak on the line. He would have to complete the 6th inning to continue that. That's 24 in a row going back to June 21st. That's a Cubs all-time record. It's the longest in the majors since Bob Gibson established the major league record with 26 back in 67, 68. The quality start record goes back to 1914. Joe does not have a list of these feats in the dugout, dictating his moves.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of things he's aware of, but he might not be aware of that one. And it's, I mean, anything he's overly concerned with. I don't know if it's anything that Jake is overly concerned with.
The other streak that ended with that run allowed, according to Elias, he already had the longest streak in Major League history of consecutive regular season home starts without allowing a run. 6 in a row going into today. Three and 2 on Addison Russell.
Yeah, and if VR had gotten into some bad pancakes this morning, who knows? He might have had a no-hitter going still. I think that the pacing of this game, the long innings in between, the cold weather, I think all those things factoring into Joe's thinking here as he considers and a chance to maybe open this thing wide open in this inning, contemplating a pinch hitter for Jake with Grimm getting ready in the bullpen.
Arrieta not conceding, and he will be lifted for a pinch hitter. Not just yet. That's an 0-2 to 4-2 walk.
Yeah, and that's a marked improvement from Addison Russell this year so far in terms of controlling the strike zone. He's cut way down on the strikeouts, working his walks.
So the Cubs have 6 hits. They've also walked 4 times, 5 times.
Twice hit by a pitch.
Yeah, just piling up the traffic.
We're checking all the boxes. We really need a catcher's interference.
The home run from Ross in the second. Justin Grimm is no longer throwing in the bullpen, so he may get one more inning. Right center, drifting is Neuenhuis. Listella will tag Russell back to first. Joe is going to pinch hit for Jake Arrieta. It'll be Jorge Soler. So the quality start streak ends.
And I just feel like Joe's thinking here is he's probably going to get just one more out of Jake anyway. A chance to add on. Nobody up in the Brewers bullpen, so the counsel wasn't, he didn't have an option to counter this move, so he's getting that bat here for Soler against the soft tossing lefty.
Five innings, 3 hits, 1 run. He walked 4, struck out 6 in 92 pitches. Well, the other part of it is it's a 4-run lead, which feels like a lot more, but it doesn't make the manager that comfortable, and you'd love to put the game out of reach right here as Russell moves to second on a wild pitch.
Yeah, and with 92 pitches made already, he was only going to go one more with him anyway. Coming off the complete game last time out. Closer ball game. Arrieta probably does take the at bat and goes out for one more.
That's the change. It's 1-1. Infield in.
It's always been the best pitch for Capuano. Changeup, good sinker. You got to think middle away against him. Make sure you stay back. Trust that you can get to the fastball inside if he makes a mistake in there.
Arrieta's earned run average is 1. So it went up today.
Yeah, it was 087 coming in.
And 4 earned runs in 5 starts. Covering 36 innings.
Jason Hamill has an 075. Second best in the league to Maeda of the Dodgers. He's got an otherworldly 0.36 earned run average.
Pitching in this league has been so good. Somebody's going to have a negative ERA. Maybe they should count offensive production by the pitcher against your ERA, and you could. His ERA is negative 2.6. Soler walks, so 3 free passes in the inning. Brought by Capuano, and it'll bring up Dexter Fowler.
Youngman lasted just 3 2/3 and threw 95 pitches.
Cubs have left 6 on base. They've scored 5 times, but they've had opportunities to add on. They stranded the bases loaded in the 4th without a hit. They have loaded them again here in the 5th.
Capuano has always been one of those pitchers that preys on the aggressive nature of hitters, trying to stay out of the strike zone, try to get to chase that sinker down or the changeup. But against so many of these Cub hitters, that plan just doesn't work.
Too little bobble, and it costs the Brewers a run as Fowler will get an RBI. La Stella is in, and it's 6-1. VR just couldn't get a good handle on it.
Yeah, otherwise it's a double play. That little extra time there to get the handle allows Fowler to beat the play at first base.
So a 5th inning run without a hit. And Hayward now will bat. There have been some missed opportunities in this series defensively for Milwaukee. Remember the ball Aaron Hill did not catch leading into the Cubs dugout in the 1st inning during the Zobrist at bat that resulted in a 2-run single. And a strike on Hayward. Getting an update on Chris Bryant. He rolled his right ankle while running the bases in the 3rd inning, so he is being evaluated. That's why he came out of the game. One. Chopper foul. Bryant all the way around from first.
Didn't appear to be favoring anything there, did he?
One and two to Hayward. Ground ball, diving stop Carter, and that will end the inning. So Hayward still without a hit in the series, but the Cubs expand their lead. It's 6-1 after 5. Jake Arrieta, 5 innings, 1 run allowed, and the pitcher of record as he tries to improve to 5-0. And Justin Grimm will take over here in the 6th.
Four, 5, 6 here for the Brewers in the 6th. Bullpen is well rested. Starters have been so good. They pitched deep into a lot of games, so not a whole lot of work for the bullpen. Grimm on for the 7th time. He's worked just 6 innings so far this year.
Liner into center. Lucroy is aboard. So he's walked twice and singled. That's his first hit of the series. Had an 8-game hitting streak snapped on Tuesday.
Just an outstanding season last year. Beneath the radar because he's pitching in the 6th and 7th innings, not in there in the 8th and 9th. But boy, very valuable. A 1.99 ERA. Struck out 67 batters in 49 2/3 innings. Allowed just 31 hits.
Full count, 3-2.
Arrieta was able to throw the fastball by Carter, punched him out both times up this afternoon.
And he strikes out again. On the pitch in the dirt. Hey, Cub fans, let's go. Join the Cubs season ticket holder waiting list today to claim your spot in our lineup for season tickets. It's easy and free to register. For details, visit Cubs.com/waiting list. Nice. Didn't mean to, but he fouled it.
You ever hear of Bach Baker?
Bach Baker.
B-O-C-K. Bach
Bach.
Baker. Not Bach and Baker. Or Bach and Bob, but Bach Baker. Pitching for the Cleveland Blues in 1901. He gave up a record 23 singles to the White Sox on this date in baseball history.
Well, literally booted by Ross. Lucroy holding 23 singles.
Afraid to make a pitching change. That's dead ball era stuff. That's when there was a lot of just slashing the ball around the diamond. A lot of bunting and slap hitting. Could have been.
And at one time, way back when, walks were credited as hits, I believe. Helped the guy's batting average if you walked.
going way back. And I'm not sure exactly when this changed, the evolution of the pitcher. Pitcher's primary job was just to put the ball in play, kind of like when you play pickup ball as kids. But you weren't really trying to get people out. You were just introducing the ball into play, and the hitters could actually tell you whether they wanted high or low. Pitchers probably weren't paid a whole lot back then. I find a lot of guys capable of doing that.
Called strike 3 on a fastball. Painted on the outside edge.
Firm and well placed. And well presented by David Ross, too. He just cradled that one.
Flores now pinch hitting. Pitcher's spot. One and one. Fouled straight back. The Braves are here tomorrow. John Lester will pitch for the Cubs. Rookie righty Aaron Blair for the Braves. And here on CSN Saturday it'll be John Lackey looking for his 4th win. Julio Teheran for Atlanta. And on Sunday Jason Hamill 3-0 against Matt Whistler. So you've got 3 Brave starters all without a win. 3 Cubs starters combined 8 wins. Called strike 3, all the outs, punch outs for Grimm here in the 6th. Cubs lead 6-1.
Well, welcome back to Wrigley. This is your Coors Light in-game report. Cubs on top 6-1 as we move to the bottom of the 6th. Javier Baez leading things off, and Joe Madden praising him the other day for his maturity just in this last year. Said a year ago, wasn't sure. Third baseman throwing balls over the head to fans, and I'm freaking out, guys, but wasn't sure a year ago he would have handled this versatile role that he's been asked to do, being ready at any point in time, stepping up today here in the 5th inning for Chris Bryant, taking over in left field. But that's a sign, he says, even seeing it in his face, he's ready at any point in time, and has been impressed with what he's seen defensively, guys, as well as at the plate from Javier Baez. Knows that's his role this year to be in the major leagues.
Thank you, Kelly.
Good concentration.
Absolutely.
That was scary, guys. I wasn't sure where that was headed.
Sam Freeman has dealt a couple of really good changeups, and Baez down 0-2.
Yeah, Freeman's always had a good arm. We've seen him with the Cardinals in past seasons. Last year he was a Texas Ranger. But, a little giddy up on that heater. Control's been a bit of an issue for him.
Another changeup hit on the ground to the shortstop VR, and Baez with an infield single.
VR earlier with the mishandle on a potential double play ball. Looked like he had difficulty getting that one out of his glove as well, but hurried because of the speed and the hustle of Baez. So far, things have not gone particularly well for Sam. 12 hits plus 5 walks in 5 2/3 innings.
Got a weird little design thing with their uniform, and I don't know if he did that on purpose with the buttons. You've got that gold background, and that next to the W is supposed to be kind of under the other side of the jersey. Maybe it was bothering him for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to look.
Maybe he had a wardrobe malfunction and they should use a safety pin or something.
Maybe somehow the A in Milwaukee was damaged or something. He didn't want to spill coffee on it, or who knows. Pass ball charged to Lucroy.
Tough day to catch. These Brewer pitchers have not been very sharp.
To Rizzo, ball 4.
That was a shocker. Third time Anthony has walked today.
Zobrist hit from the right side for the 2nd time.
Been a while since Freeman's been out there, about a week. Last outing against the Twins, he allowed 4 runs on 4 hits in 2 innings. The 2nd time he's allowed 4 runs in a relief stint this year. That ERA is so high.
Talking about Jake's great run going back to last June, his only loss was to Cole Hamels in July. That was the no-hitter day here at Wrigley Field. You go to 2 days after that, and since then the Cubs are 60-23 in their last 83 regular season games. And I remember after they were no-hit, there were a lot of Cub fans who were beyond aggravated. How could they get no hit at Wrigley Field? Well, it happened, it happens. It's happened a lot to Joe Madden managed teams over the years, and ultimately it didn't really matter at all, as the Cubs from that point on were probably the best team in baseball.
Yeah, they did. They had the best record in baseball from the end of July.
It is no fun to be no hit, but it is a singular event. It's not really a sign of anything
not indicative.
larger.
Yeah. I mean, when you go through history and look at all the no hitters, yeah, probably a decent percentage of them are against bad hitting clubs, but an elite pitcher on his game, capable of shutting down even the best of lineups. And there's always some randomness. We got an issue.
Yeah, Rizzo took off. Baez didn't. So Zobrist striking out. Ball dropped. Everybody's safe.
Oh my.
Well, Baez had kind of given up on the play, and then all of a sudden the Brewers made another defensive mistake, and that's the kind of thing that'll really aggravate a manager.
Well, it's just so, it all starts with the pitching. When you're walking guys and hitting people and putting all kinds of people on base, especially in the cold weather, there's just not a lot of flow for the guys out in the field for the Brewers. Not to excuse them. First, you got the base running mistake. I think Anthony was reading Javi, thought Javi was going. He was just deking. Even that turns into a positive for the Cubs.
And I'll tell you, I don't know if Rizzo overran second or not, and I don't know if the Brewers caught it, but I don't think he retouched as he headed back to first. And I think you can see a little of the smoke coming out of Craig Counsell's ears. Does he have to retouch here?
No, he's staying.
No, he's okay. All right, he's all right. He did. Inside on La Stella.
Well, Carter was playing way off the line, so Anthony had this huge lead, and he was trying to make eye contact, I think, with Baez, and I think Anthony thought he had Baez talked into going, and so when Javi broke and faked, Riz just assumed he was going.
Fouled back. 1-1 on La Stella.
Beautiful play down there. That young man right there, nice one-handed snare of that foul ball.
Still waiting to hear on the scoring. I think it was the second baseman Rivera who dropped the ball. So Rizzo basically just unstole a base, right? He took off for second and he ends up back at first.
Kind of like Gene Segura a couple of years ago. The great Germany Schaefer.
E6, so it was VR.
We've seen good VR today, and we've seen bad VR. Good at the plate. He's had his struggles in the field. Germany Schaefer, way back in the day, stole second base, and then realizing that they weren't going to pitch to the hitter because first base was open, then stole first base.
And that is no longer allowed.
Yeah, then the Schaefer rule disallowed the going backwards.
Segura did it and got away with it, but it was a mistake. How do you get to Wrigley Field? The Cubs suggest taking public transportation. The Cubs do offer a free bike check, now located near the Addison Red Line station. For drivers, the Cubs provide free remote parking and shuttle service on night and weekend games. For information, go to the A to Z guide on Cubs.com. La Stella walks. 8 walks and counting.
That's from Troy, man. He's been out to the mound about 30 times here this afternoon.
Well, it was Rivera, by the way, who dropped that ball, so it'll be an E4. They'll end up changing that.
From the 4th inning on to this point here, the Cubs have had 9-man reach. 1 hit, the infield hit by Baez.
Not only through 6 innings, it's 53 plus 95. 148.
Yes.
That's how many pitches made by the Brewers. You might see a starter at about 70, 75 pitches through 6. They've made almost 150.
Yeah, this game won't make the highlight reel for the Brewers in next offseason when they're trying to rally support for the club. The annual banquet. This one won't be part of the production.
No. Ball, BR, and Rivera dropped it. They're going to give him the out at second. And I think Craig Counsell may ask about the slide rule. Listella stayed on the bag. He went in hard. Cubs get a run. Russell will get an RBI as Baez scores.
Yeah, they're reviewing the video, but he looks like he's okay here. Listella gets down early enough, slides directly into the base. He came off the base, but he's by an inch.
Yeah, I don't
think that's part of the spirit of the rule.
Boy, they've had all kinds of trouble in the middle of the infield here these last few innings.
Well, it's just hard to stay engaged the way the pitching has been, and then you couple that with the cold weather. There's not a lot of flow going on out there for the Brewers right now. Peter Sagal of Wait, Don't Tell Me, NPR show, recorded right here in Chicago. He put out a tweet earlier. Said that whenever David Ross hits a home run, old bald guys everywhere rejoice. I don't know if I would call Peter old, but he certainly meets the qualifications for the second point.
Would you consider yourself part of that club?
Yeah, absolutely.
2-1. I saw a comment, I think it was Jimmy Nelson the other day, said after the game that the Cub hitters were patient tonight. And I was thinking, no, Jimmy, the Cubs are patient. That was not unusual. And I think some pitchers around the league are going to learn that firsthand. And it's not just, oh, they seem to lay off a lot of my pitches.
The best games we've seen pitch against the Cubs were when the opposing pitchers were very aggressive, pitched with their fastball.
Ball 4.
The 2 starts the Rockies had here. Bettis and Chatwood, both those guys pitched well and attacked early.
For Caesar bats, Derek Johnson back to the mound.
Now time for our Cubs upcoming game schedule, brought to you by Travel Wisconsin. Plan your fun today at travelwisconsin.com. Bravos in for the weekend, and then Cubs will head off to Pittsburgh for a 3-game set, and then right back home they come. It's a carry-on bag trip for you, Len. You won't even need a suitcase.
Yep. So the bases are loaded yet again. And it's Matt Caesar off the bench. Not saying it's been a long half inning, but Anthony Rizzo looks like he's absolutely freezing standing at third base.
And
foul.
The temperature has dropped a little bit, I've noticed, in the last inning or so. Cub pinch hitters have been really good this year. Caesar off to a nice start, batting .333. On base up over 400.
Freeman thinking to himself, that's what's supposed to happen. But it hasn't very much in this inning. Out of the zone changeup. Getting a swing and a miss. 0-2. Figured he might come right back with it. Still trying to figure out what he did with his jersey. That looks deliberate. Trevor Cahill.
Yeah, in love with that changeup. It's almost like it's a new pitch for him, and his whole mission here today is just to work on that pitch, almost like it were a spring training game.
Lined and caught by Rivera. Cubs add another run. 3 more walks in the inning. It's 7-1 after 6. leading 7-1, looking for a 2-game series sweep. Caesar stays in. He plays left. Trevor Cahill on the pitch as Javier Baez moves in from left to third.
Bit of a slow start for Cahill. He was really good in a Cub uniform last year. 1 inning for Grimmy, allowed a hit. Nothing else with 3 strikeouts.
And former Cub pitcher Steve Trout is with us. He will conduct the 7th inning stretch. How are you, Steve?
I'm great, thank you. I brought my blanket and my gloves. You know, it's great to be here, even if it is a bit chilly.
It is.
Yeah, so it's always nice to be in Wrigley Field.
But you're a Midwesterner, so
yeah,
you're hardy. You can handle it. I wanted to ask you, and I don't know if you even know, did your dad know Johnny Vandermeer?
I don't know that. I don't know. I would assume he probably did.
Probably did. I don't think they may have pitched in the same league at the same time, but we obviously talked about Vandermeer quite a bit today. Back-to-back no-hitters in 38, but pitched into the 1950s.
Yeah, my dad pitched with Virgil Trucks, who had 2 no-hitters in 1 season. And that was, of course, TNT, Trucks, Newhouser, and Trout. And through the years, I've met a lot of people that knew Dad.
It's outside. Yeah, Dizzy Trout, 1944, 27-14 with a 2.12 ERA to lead the majors. 49 games, 40 starts. He completed 33 of those, 352 in a third innings.
That's 3 years for me.
Wow.
That's a lot of work, man.
Only 352 innings. I don't think they had a pitch count back then.
I think you're right.
That's where they would put a little oil on the arm and they would just rub it real hard and get it ready.
So Cahill strikes out Rivera.
You ever flirt with a no-hitter, Steve?
A couple of times. Yeah, a couple of times. And I know it was here where Lou Piniella broke it up, and then one time in Atlanta, and I think they had 3 going into the 9th. So it would have been nice, but I think I would rather have hit a home run in my major league days. I did not do that. So
that's a good question. That's a good question. Would you rather have? And you would take the home run over the no-no.
Well, your dad hit 20.
He hit 20.
He did.
And he was a solid hitter. As a matter of fact, he was used as a pinch hitter quite a bit.
Wow.
And
it's fouled back. Had over 1,000 plate appearances in 15 major league seasons.
Yeah, Detroit was. He came up in one of the. Billy Pierce was in 1941, one of his teammates, and he told me, he said, "Steve, your dad put me under his wing." And I said, "I always appreciate that." Yeah. Great man.
3-1 the count. Cubs lead 7-1 here in the 7th. How's your younger cousin Mike doing? There's no relation, right, Mike? You get asked that question a lot.
I'm still waiting for the DNA test to come back. I want to find out. But he's too good to be my son, you know. Gosh,
I was going to say,
I love what.
Yeah, Trout could be your long lost younger brother, and Tim Salmon would be your cousin, right? Trout Salmon.
Yeah, exactly. That would be it.
Up the middle, and that gets past a diving Ben Zobrist. Who dubbed Rainbow on you? Was there a teammate?
I think it was an ESPN got that going, but
probably Chris Berman.
Yeah, likely Berman.
It was Berman, and it was part of my basket. They said I had a jump shot that looked like a rainbow, and then Berman got a hold of it, and of course, I was on the all-fish team. Or
you could have been smoked trout. You could have been brown trout. Rainbow's probably the better way to go.
And I think one of the managers in Seattle said throw Trout back in the Puget Sound and have him swim back to Chicago. Oh, so, you know, I get into interesting battles with that last name at times.
VR with a strike on a foul.
But I did cut out Trout when Mike won the MVP for the All-Star game, and I kind of used that for myself. So never made the All-Star team. But I thought in '84 I was going to get picked. But I think Hammaker.
Atlee Hammaker.
Yeah, got the spot.
Oh, is that the year he got lit up? Remember he started the All-Star game
Yeah, I
one
think
year.
so.
Really,
I was happy about that.
Yeah.
And it was in San Francisco.
It was, exactly.
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons why he got picked by the team his manager.
So who's the best manager you ever played for? Maybe the most colorful manager you ever played for?
Oh, I still, Tony La Russa was probably the most cerebral in that regard. He saw the game. He always saw it as an intern, you know, from the analytical aspect. But Jim Fry was just more down to earth and somebody who knew more about the game, and he helped me out with pitching. He said, "Steve, this is what you can do," and he was a good manager that way. He just didn't leave it off to Billy Connors, or however Billy Connors was the pitching coach and a great one at that.
You must have been with Tony when he got started, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he was my manager in Double-A as well. So we spent a lot of time together. Gene Michaels for a little bit here, Stick. Actually, when I came up, it was Paul Richards who caught my dad in the Detroit days. Wow. So I saw a lot of managers. I don't take any credit for getting them fired, but it's very possible.
1-2, and that missed.
My minor league managers, Joe Jones, the first one, was just a solid, fundamental type guy. And then Joe Sparks in AAA. I really like Joe Sparks, and he got some time in, I think, with Cincinnati. Do those names, you guys?
Yes, Joe Sparks sounds familiar,
yes,
for sure.
Yeah, and he was a great manager. I thought maybe my favorite manager over the years. But I always respect. However, you know, as a pitcher, you deal so much more with the pitching coach than you do with the actual manager itself, unless he's out there to pull you out of the game, which happened too often.
There goes again, swing and a miss. The throw actually hits Perez and goes into left center, and that's going to be a tough error, I think, on David Ross. So 2 outs in the inning.
That would be a tough error.
But they've got to give it to somebody. Yep. That's the team error right there, JD.
Yeah, it's hard to pin this one on anybody, but you gotta justify the advance.
I don't know if that hit the helmet of the runner.
He didn't react, did he? Like he got hit.
So it either hit his helmet or possibly Russell. There's Alex Presley. And that one almost hit him. You know, JD, I appreciate you asked Steve. They hit him in the arm. About his favorite manager, and I love the fact that he brought up a couple of minor league guys, because it does make sense. Those are your formative years, and you don't often hear guys mention, you know, I had a great minor league manager. Yeah, because a lot of teaching goes on in the minor leagues, and hopefully by the time you get to the big leagues, you're kind of a finished product, and you don't need as much maintenance. And so you don't have that much, you know, of a relationship with a manager. Other than, it's time for you to go, or nice job, and we'll see you in 5 days.
Yeah, even sometimes with the coaches. John Vukovic was one of the guys who I loved so much, and I looked up to him as a coach. Those kind of guys can, Johnny Oates, he would catch me in the bullpen during bullpen work and taught me more about pitching maybe than anybody did. So those kind of guys are a big influence and mean a lot.
Yeah, Vuk was incredibly popular here in Chicago and later in Philadelphia. Great guy. 2-2 on Alex Presley. Arrieta, Grimm, and now Cahill for the Cubs. Ross wants to start this sequence over.
On a day where Joe Maddon could have gotten one more inning out of Jake Arrieta, but he opted not to, given the score and the fact that he's got a lot of relievers down there that could use work. Comfortable lead. Grimm solid. Cahill been a little wobbly in the early going this year. Looks pretty sharp here today, though. Good life on that heater.
Love to not face Ryan Braun with a couple men on. He's on deck. And the 3-2 misses for ball 4.
Get him stirred up a little bit in the bullpen.
I got a weird one for you, Steve. Did you have any game-worn jerseys from your major league teams? And if so, do you have any of the collared White Sox jerseys from the late 70s?
That's the one I have.
That's the one you kept.
And that's the one that somebody took.
Oh.
But that was the lapel, the big lapel.
Yeah.
That was a great uni, no doubt. Bill Veck, another one of the.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I wasn't there in '77 when they had the shorts. So
that was short-lived.
I'd have got fined for bad wheels.
Yeah.
One strike on Ryan Braun.
Bill Veck and Joe Maddon, that would have been a good pair, right?
Yeah.
A couple outside the box thinkers.
The best pair I ever saw, though, were up here in the booth. Jimmy Pearsall and Harry Carey. No.
Yeah.
He's talking about the odd couple, but they did great. I mean, they were entertaining, of course.
People to this day talk about those guys.
Sure, we sure did.
All right, getting ready to sing here, Steve.
Okay.
It is time.
Great to see you guys.
Nice to see you as always. Time for the Mazda 7th inning stretch.
Today's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, former Cub pitcher Steve Trout.
Okay, you great Cub fans, let me hear ya. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, for it's root for the Cubs. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. This is the year.
Live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Picked up by Carter, and he'll take it to the bag. One out here in the Cubs' 7th. Hayward. So Steve Trout is 58. His dad Dizzy, talk about a connection to the past. And Dizzy passed away 1972, so he never did see Steve pitch in the big leagues. But Dizzy pitched in 1939 in the major leagues. As Hayward rounds out to the pitcher. Pretty neat.
All the father-son combinations in baseball. You think of the position players, not that many pitchers.
Right, the Colemans.
Probably brain cramping, but
3 generations of Colemans.
Would the Trouts be #1 in the clubhouse for wins by a father-son combination?
Could be, yeah. Well, I got to look at the Colemans now. You had both Joes were all-stars. Casey. What about the Stottlemyres?
Stottlemyres, yeah.
$2-0 on Javier Baez. The older Joe Coleman went 52 and 76 over 10 years. His son Joe won 142 games. Yeah, Dizzy 170 wins. Steve with 88. Tough to top. You know how it would be topped? You had a 300-game winner and his son won 2.
Yeah, it's like Cy Young and his lesser-known son Bill Young or something. Ned Young.
Hey, there's a walk.
Yeah, it was like it's almost like you had to have your at least one walk for the inning after 2 quick outs. Number 10? Is that number 10?
That is number 10.
Anthony has walked 3 times today, also doubled. Drove in a run, scored a run.
Look out. 2 balls and a strike. Lifelong Cub fan Ray Fellows celebrating his 70th birthday today.
Related to Brian Fellows?
I don't know. How about the Necros, the brothers, but Joe's son, right? Lance, did he ever pitch in the big leagues? I know.
Lance was a position player.
But then he converted.
Did he convert? Yeah.
I don't know if he ever got back as a pitcher.
I don't believe so.
Baez to second. No, he never did. called strike 3 to end the inning. To the 8th. All Cubs today leading 7-1. From the Illinois Lottery, a new family of instant tickets where you can win up to $3 million instantly. Get ready to live large. 32-7-3-4 the paid crowd today. All bundled up. Cubs leading 7-1.
The Stottlemyers, Mel, and Todd combined for 302 wins.
Pretty solid.
Mel won 164 games. He was done at the age of 32.
Wow. Lucroy takes a strike. You want to look at the schedule moving forward. And,
yep.
We just need to get to the end of July, 25th through the 28th, and see if Sale and Arrieta will line up. I'll give you the rest of the half inning.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. It'll be 4 games in 4 nights. First 2 will be at U.S. Cellular Field. Monday and Tuesday, July 25th and 26th. Wednesday, Thursday night here at Wrigley Field. Cubs win 10-9. For their 3rd in a row today. Cubs have not lost 2 in a row this month to start the season. Only team in baseball that hasn't had a losing streak. A breaking ball. It didn't break very much.
kind of the irony of this outing from Youngman, the starter for the Brewers today. His curveball was probably his best pitch, and a lot of times it's tough to get the feel for that pitch on a cold day.
We'll try it again.
Arrieta with a win today would be 5-0. Sale already 5-0. He's got a 166 earned run average. Jake's right at 1 even. Matt Latos is 4-0 for the Sox.
Croy with a leadoff walk. Gabriel Strop getting loose. So 7-1 Cubs, but let's go back to the first inning for a second. Bases loaded, 1 out against Jake Arrieta. The Brewers had a chance to jump on the Cubs starter today. He got out of it. He struck out Carter and Neuenhuis. We wondered if that would be the Brewers' big chance, and it was.
Yeah, it was their best chance to put a crooked number on the board and maybe change the feel of this game early on. The funny thing with Arrieta out there, even in that situation, you still had a pretty good feel about him getting out of it untouched.
Zobrist will charge. He's going to step on second. He's got time to turn it, and it has been a day to forget for Chris Carter. He would have been better off striking out again. Instead, he made 2 outs.
Yeah, that's the definition of a bad day there. When you would have been better off with the sombrero. That's a tough day. 3 punch outs and a ground into a double play.
Swing and a miss by Neuenhuis.
Probably not a lot of eye contact for the big guy when he got back into the Brewer dugout. And we're going to pat him on the backside.
Got a couple of buttons undone there, and you got the background gold beneath the Milwaukee showing through. Topper that'll be collected by Cahill, and that was a bizarre looking throw. I don't know if he slipped or what, but he kind of sidearmed it to Rizzo, and he'll be charged with an error.
And maybe that back foot kicks out on him a little bit as he gets ready to make this throw. More time to gather himself. Wasn't real pretty. A little change up grip maybe.
This is Colin Walsh, a switch hitter, pinch hitting. What's Joe's line? They're not all oil paintings.
Yep.
This has been a less than perfect game by both teams. Cubs putting up 7 runs. All kinds of walks. 2-1.
I like the way the ball's coming out of Cahill's hand here today, though. This is as good as he's looked this year. That's his he missed there, but that's his game down there around the knees. And no surprise that Walsh worked the walk. That's what he does. He led all of minor league baseball last year in taking walks.
We'll get a pitching change as Pedro Strop is ready. And he will enter with 2 men on and 2 down in the 8th. Cubs leading 7-1. A call to the pen. Here's Pedro Strop.
On for the 10th time. And Pedro, no wins, no losses, a 3.38 ERA. On Tuesday, he pitched and was a little off his game. He walked a couple and then allowed a 2-run double to Ryan Braun. So 2 runs charged to him in that outing.
Pitch to Yadiel Rivera is a slider over for strike.
There's just adding it up here. There have been 32 plate appearances in this ball game that have ended up in either a walk or a strikeout.
That's a lot.
Dive bomb by some pigeons up here.
Swing and a miss. That'll end the inning. 2 walks, an error, a double play ball. So a lot went on, but no runs scored.
mound to open up a 3-game series with the Braves. Coverage starts at 12:30 with Cubs pregame live, presented by Fields Auto. Right here on CSN Chicago. John looks intense there. He's ready to go.
His game face on. Ben Zobrist greets Carlos Torres with a ringing single. So Cubs are taking all these walks, and Zobrist doesn't have one. But he does have 2 hits. And we're going to get a Cub debut. It's Tim Fedorovich. Just joined the roster today with Miguel Montero going on the disabled list. So a lot of Tim in spring training. Was off to a good start with the bat at Iowa.
Started in the Red Sox organization, broke into the big leagues with the Dodgers for a little bit in 2011.
Yeah, he ended up with the Padres after being traded there in the Matt Kemp deal, and then blew out his right knee in spring training, so he did not get to the big leagues last season. So this is his first action at this level in 2 seasons. Carter will not have a play. We're going to look at Carlos Torres.
We saw him the other night. He's pitched to a 5.06 ERA. There was a lot of cut fastballs.
Two and two, so when Fedorovich gets behind the plate, it'll be what, the 3rd catcher used. Schwarber never did catch, right? I think he was scheduled to catch
Correct.
Hamill, and then he got hurt. Popped him up on a 3-2. I was going to try a new one. I haven't used it. Tell me if you like it.
Okay, what do you got?
We've seen more full counts today than we would at a European nobleman banquet.
What's not to like?
It's a little wordy, but it's my first shot at it. Here's Russell.
How cold was it, Johnny? It was so cold.
Well, my tried and true on a day like this is we've seen more pitches than you would at a corporate sales meeting. I got to come up with better material, or at least something new. Jason Hamill is on deck, because why not? Fedorovich, I guess, will catch the ninth.
Yeah, Baez, Soler, Caesar have all been used. Oh, it's Rossi Sputnik. Yeah, that is.
Yes.
That is funky. The Caesar's in the 9 hole.
Another full count.
It's a mental health AB for Russell right here.
Yep.
0 for 3 with a walk so far. Gets a knock here. Feels pretty good about his day at the plate.
And he draws the walk. So here's Hamill.
Yeah. Let's see what the 11th walk.
But look at that. Cubs already 3 times have taken at least 10 this year. 3 such performances the previous 6 seasons. Two 2-0 on the pitcher. I shouldn't say the pitcher, the pinch hitter. Yeah, you better get your hacks in, Jason. You've been asked to pinch hit, not pinch walk.
Yeah, you got to justify the move.
That was an awkward cut. So 2 outs. Caesar pops it up. This will reach the seats off of first. Evaded to right. Presley makes the catch. Inning over. Cubs strand 2. And we're going to go to the 9th. Cubs leading 7-1. The hefty home run, courtesy of David Ross. He got all of it.
Yeah, that was a no-doubter. And on a day, cold, wind blowing in, didn't look like the ball would carry. That was just a vicious swing and a great result for Ross. And here comes Tim Fedorovich into the game after pinch hitting, and on the mound will be Neil Ramirez, working for the 6th time. Last time out in Cincinnati, he gave up a 3-run home run to Joey Votto. Two-run home run.
Fouled away by Hernan Perez. Jake Arrieta looking to go 5-0 to start the season. About a 16-5 start.
The 84 Tigers 25-5 out of the gate, something
35-5.
Yeah.
Then they got swept. 3-game series, but called strike 3, just on the edge. So 1 out.
So Fedorovich is set up. Ramirez hits his spot, gets his man.
Side on VR. Rich sends us a tweet. He says, how about Walter and Randy Johnson, 720 wins? Well played,
Why
sir.
Not, yeah.
Yeah, pick Cy Young, and as you said, any pitcher after him with the last name Young.
Matt Young, yeah.
He's in good shape. One and one the count. Here's a pitch hit in the air to deep left center. Fowler is back on it, and it's off the wall. VR's got a double. Had a tough day with the glove, but a perfect day. -1 at bat at the plate. He did strike out in the 7th, but 3 hits and a walk.
Yeah, I think he might be the 3rd star. He might be part of the 3-star selection here this afternoon, the day he's had.
1-1 to Presley. Nearly hit him. It'll be a wild pitch, allowing the runner to advance. Tomorrow's game right here on CSN. Braves and the Cubs. 12:30 for our pregame coverage. First pitch at 1:20. Down back. Tigers beat the A's 7-3 the final. On a ball, Sanchez beat Chris Bassett. Francisco Rodriguez got the save, his 5th. Pirates and Rockies were cold weathered out. I don't know if it rained, but the temperature was in the 30s. Maybe snowed out. 5th inning, Phillies and Nationals scoreless in DC. Phillies are over 500. 11-10.
Yeah, they're a bit of a surprise team, aren't they? Got a real nice effort from Jeremy Hellickson in last night's game. Right hand red. He's either a twister board or a bag of Wonder Bread. I'm not sure which, but it's clever.
Braves will get in late. They play in Boston this evening. Michael Wacha will pitch for the Cardinals at Arizona tonight. And how about Jose Fernandez and Kenta Maeda? That's a good matchup. Marlins and the Dodgers. With Vince Scully behind the microphone. Might be the final thing I do tonight.
Driving home from the Bricks and Ivy ball, turn on the ball game when you get home. Interesting to note.
Three and 2 to Presley. High fly, deep right. And the wind knocks it down as Hayward makes a catch. A tag and score situation for VR. Presley with his 2nd RBI today. He's knocked in both their runs. And the Brewers down to their final out.
One last chance for the fans to brew Ryan Braun this afternoon.
Swing roller foul. Ramirez fields. Cubs win. They sweep the 2-game series. 7-2 the final as Jake Arrieta wins yet again.
Yeah, we didn't get our back-to-back no-hitters. That was over with quickly as the leadoff man of the game got a base hit, but solid effort from Jake here today. Joe with an early move to the bullpen. And just a tough day for the Brewers pitchers. Ton of walks. Cubs take advantage and cruise to another easy win.
So Arrieta now 5-0. Youngman drops to 0-4. And the toast of the game, presented by Binny's Beverage Depot, goes to who else? Jake Arrieta.
Yeah, a little wobbly early on with a couple of walks, but at the end of the day, solid numbers again for Arrieta. 3 hits, 1 run. He walked 4, struck out 6. So his scoreless streak here at Wrigley Field comes to an end. His quality start streak comes to an end because they only went 5. But another outstanding effort from the big right-hander.
3 hours, 45 minutes as Cubs had another patient day at the plate. They took 11 walks. Chris Bryant hit by 2 pitches. And the guy who had the game-winning hit in the first inning, Ben Zobrist, is with Kelly.
That's right, Lynn. Well, Ben, a couple big hits for you today. I know Joe said it was only a matter of time before things started heating up for you. Are you feeling more comfortable at the plate?
Yeah, it's getting there. I mean, it's easy to do that when up and down the lineup we're getting a lot of at-bats and guys are all having great at-bats. So it's going to come along. Those of us that are kind of cold to start the season will get hotter as the year goes on, but you couldn't be happier with the way that our whole team has been playing.
You talk about it, you see the runs today, the wins keep coming. 11 walks is a season high so far for this team. Patience at the plate, is that kind of going to need to be the MO for this team?
Well, I think it's something that they struggled with a little bit last year, and coming in, you know, Theo talked about that to me. He said, we like the fact that you're going to get on base, take your walks, and you know, other guys have been doing a great job of just having great at-bats up there. You know, if you have a good at-bat, you're going to give yourself a good chance to get better hits when you get the ball in the zone there, and the guys have been doing a great job of that.
I've been meaning to ask you, when you look at the character of this team and, of course, what you played with in Kansas City, is this group emulating things that you need to see in a World Championship team?
Absolutely. I mean, it's so early to talk about that, you know, but we're definitely a good team. We're a winning team. We know that. It's a great chemistry in the clubhouse. We have a lot of fun together. So far, everything's been clicking. So, you know we're going to hit some rough spots during the year, but right now we're just taking it one game and you know, playing good baseball as a team.
So 16-5 works for you so far?
Hey, I think it's good so far, but we got more work to do.
Great, Ben. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Guys, Ben Zobrist.
All right, Kelly, thank you. And a reminder, our toast to the game, presented by Binny's Beverage Depot. It is the official champagne provider of the Chicago Cubs. One other note, Cubs put up 7 runs today. They went 2 for 17 with men in scoring position, so that can be a misleading stat as well. We're back with you tomorrow, 12:30 for our coverage as the Cubs host the Atlanta Braves. Now for JD and our entire crew here at Wrigley, Len Casper with your final score. Cubs 7, Brewers 2, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Cubs Postgame Live is next.